the sky. Take a deeper breath and give it time. You can walk the path among the lines.
And hello, everybody, and welcome.
Always know that
Seriously, it's my pleasure to welcome each and every one of you to the Alienware Awesome Cup Tournament Season 2 Finals weekend. My name is Slow Wolf. It is my honor today to be the host for this event. Joining me are casters. We have Oz and we have Nada. How you doing today, gents?
Doing well, doing well. It's a pleasure to be here for the Grand Finals weekend, and it's a pleasure to have you, Slow Wolf. Thank you for being able to do this. It's awesome to see the caster from the previous Alienware Season 1 be with us today.
You know, it's kind of like handing the keys off to my favorite car, so, you know, take good care of it. And honestly, I gotta say, Oz, you've been doing a great job. Nada, you too. How are you doing? Nada.
I am good. Thank you very much, Slow Wolf. You are like the guru, the wise one. Hopefully we won't scratch your car, especially when I go to hype mode. I have installed a button, and we are ready for that.
Don't touch the little red button.
I will.
Okay, no, touch the little red button. It is time to go to hype mode. It is time. It is going to be a good time. But with that said and done, we've had a very long season behind us with a lot of crazy games, awesome qualifiers, and a lot of teams coming out to compete at these events for points to be able to rank themselves into the finals. There are only 16 teams here today, but Oz, what's been your feel behind the energy of this qualifier, of all these qualifiers put together this season? What's the energy behind it?
Well, the whole season, as you said before, it's been a very long tournament. We've had a lot of high-octane action. We've seen a lot of these teams that we've known to come and love from the previous Alienware tournament come out. We've seen 99 Cents, the returning champions, trying to defend their title. We've seen newer teams like the Ninjas with Attitude, the Crowd's Hot Voltar Train, and even Gelati. You know, not many people knew about Gelati before this, and they just came out of nowhere and surprised everybody. They're one of my dark horse candidates, if you will, but there have been some amazing matches that we've seen. Just one match off the top of my head that happened, I believe, in the second qualifier. Boss versus Boom was a great match.
Why is that?
Team Boom was down all turrets, and Boss had, I believe, 3 turrets left, and this was probably around the 30 to 32 minute mark, but Team Boom had acquired a team wipe on Team Boss and went straight for those last 3 turrets, took those 3 turrets down, and proceeded to come back and take the victory in that. And it was just a great match to commentate, an entertaining match to watch, and just amazing gameplay all around.
Okay, so overall, that seems like that's been your match of the entire season. Nada, what was your favorite match out of the whole bunch?
Oh wow, that's a lot.
It is a lot. I'll admit, wow, it's an unfair question, but I have faith in your ability.
It's an unfair question, but I'll have an unfair answer for you then. I think one of my favorite matches was, again, featuring Boz. I think we're seeing a pattern here. When Boz was, Boz versus Last Moment, and Boz, they had the early game. They were going at it, and things were looking really, really grim for Last Moment. And then all of a sudden, they turn after 5 deaths, no kills for them. They turn the game around and they end up winning this amazing comeback. Just absolutely glorious game.
I gotta love a good comeback. So this apparently was a season where there were a lot of chances to have those kinds of comebacks, and the games obviously reflected that. But it seemed like over the course of everything, there's one team that really stood out, especially points-wise. One team competed in practically every qualifier, ended up on top of the heap in a lot of them, and that team was Boom, wasn't it?
Oh yes.
Boom performed admirably. Oz, what can you tell me about Boom in this season?
Well, as you said before, they competed in majority of these qualifiers. They were able to take a lot of them, and high-octane gameplay. This is one of those teams that if you mess up, they're going to make you pay for it. Whether it be you being out of position, or you overextending, or you trying to deal that extra bar to the turret, you're going to be taken advantage of. And this is one of those teams where you need to play very carefully and play around their playstyle. They're a very aggressive team. You need to be able to combat that, whether that be with CC, whether that be with a counter burst or counter initiation. You have to be able to play around the other team's playstyle. And a lot of teams just weren't able to do that. Team Boom, as I said before, very aggressive team and a very smart playing team.
Nada, what about your thoughts on Boom? Would you reflect those same options, like the same thoughts that Oz had, or?
It's more like I'd say Boom has a way of making sure you die if you are on their turf, and when playing against Boom, I think the lots of the games we've seen have been Boom really getting the momentum. And well, to go over like maybe a weakness of Boom would be that if you can prevent this momentum in any way, you're gonna have a much better chance of making them hit that wall where it's really hard to get over, and you can sort of get back at them. But they've been really, really aggressive, as Oz been talking about, high octane with jet fuel and whatnot. It's just they play incredibly aggressive, and I think that's paying off for them.
So to borrow from the boxing analogy, it's kind of like the Mike Tyson of Awesome Nuts. Hits hard, hits fast, but doesn't have the stamina to be able to keep up with a broken momentum moment. Okay. On top of that, we have a couple of other people that managed to make it back from the first Awesome Cup. Actually, we have 4 teams that are in the finals today that were in the previous Awesome Cup finals, including Boom. We've also got Boss, Ion, and 99 Cents. How did those other teams manage to do over the course of this season? Let's start with 99 Cents. Nada, what's up with 99 Cents? Like, are they the same team that we saw? Are they the defending champions come here to defend the crown, or are they are they a different sort of team right now?
Well, they are indeed a different team. I am sure they want to defend their crown, but with the with Toilet Humor disappearing mysteriously, he disappeared. They have been forced to find a stand-in for him, and with that, they lost a bit of strength. You know, the 3 players had a great amount of communication. Excuse me. They knew each other's play styles and such, and with a new player, you kind of have to get back into that. So we've seen 99 Cents not perform as well as last season, where they were running in with a clean slate, basically.
All right, and Oz, do you think the same way about it, or do you think that 99 Cents can defend their crown this time, or do you think that maybe it's someone else's turn to bear that particular burden?
Well, as Nat has said before, unfortunately, Toilet Humor has disappeared, and a third has been picked up, Evil Soldier. We've seen a lot of gameplay with Evil Soldier playing his infamous Ayla, which is absolutely terrifying in their comp. But in regards to defending their crown, I think they're going to do it. I think that they're going to be able to pull this off, and as you said before, and as I said, these are the teams, they're here for a reason. And their power and composition that they can use with each other, synergy and communication, it's all a factor, and 99 Cents has that.
They do, and apparently they can make sure that people don't think that Ayla is the joke that people thought she was in the previous Awesome Cup. So it's really cool to actually hear about a player that's able to take another character like Ayla, who maybe was underrepresented before, and put them in a new light. Are there any other characters that we saw that just kind of took on a new life in this particular season? As I understand, the draft process was different. If you picked something, it was unavailable to the other team, unlike in the previous Awesome Cup. So as a result, there was a greater diversity of teams, or so I believe. Or at least there was a greater diversity of teams being able to fight against one another. What other characters did we see that kind of popped out outside of Ayla from 99 Cents? Nada?
Well, that's a good question. I think we've seen Nikki play Raylan a bit more than his frog, and there's been experimenting with Skuldir as well as Clunk to sort of deviate from the high burst they usually run. But other than that, they've sticking to their their nose. This is what they do. This is how they do it, and they've stuck with it. So apart from Ayla, I don't really think there is much deviation from the 99 playstyle that we all know and fear.
Fair enough. What about other teams, though? Oz, were there any other teams that kind of exhibited interesting not picks, or was 99 Cents kind of the only one that kind of went, you know what, let's put out this Ayla, let's put someone else new on the map?
Well, one team that comes to mind is Gelati, and we've kind of coined the term with their post-burst composition. They run a Ted, a Scree, and a Coco, and it's basically the hunt. That's what they're on. They're searching to find these kills. They survive the burst, and right after that happens, they're immediately on the rebound. They go for these kills, and seeing that type of comp and gameplay that they have, and it just goes along with the synergy that they have. This is the type of style that they go with, and it works out extremely well for them.
So let's go ahead and talk about Gelati for a little bit. These guys are a brand new name to me. And as far as I understand, they are an they are a team that kind of surprised a lot of people over the course of the season. People expected to see a lot of the old names come back and everything. And Gelati, a brand new one, coming in and making a scene. Oz, why do you think that is? Like, is it just their composition, or like that kind of brought them through, or is this like a bunch of old names that came together, or is this brand new as far as the team is concerned? Like, what can you attribute to their success in this season?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, this is a brand new team. They had beaten Team Ape in another tournament, a team that I'm a part of, and we were kind of shocked, you know? This is a new team. We don't really know their names too well. We don't know the characters that they play, and they're able to work around your play style and really counter no matter what they do. Seeing these names pop up and seeing the characters that they play, you know, immediately one thing that came to my mind was, oh, okay, well, they really don't have much burst. And that was the huge mistake that I made in assuming that, because just because you don't have much burst doesn't mean that you're incapable of picking up kills. And that's exactly what this team has done. They've proven time and time again that they have the capability and ability to be able to push your turrets, survive your burst, and hunt you down after it.
Nada, what do you think? Do you think that that's pretty, like, you agree with that particular sentiment, or do you think there's any weaknesses in Gelati's lineup? Because from what Oz is telling me, it seems like it's almost impossible to really play completely around it. Like, there's not that many weaknesses.
Well, one weakness that comes to mind is if we put everything up and says things are, we're gonna use Pokemon here.
Okay.
Things are less effective. A lot like burst is not very effective. We have DPS, not very effective, but CC is super effective.
Okay.
You have a Ted, he is a sitting duck if you get him slowed. I mean, what he's gonna do? What is he gonna do? And Scree, if you can deny Scree movement, well, what is he? He's a sitting duck. And with Coco is more of like the Joker pick, but you can deal with Coco if you have CC. Really. CC and then a hefty follow-up. You sort of have to split your burst. So you have one initiate, you have the snare, you have the silence, and then you finish off with a second burst. I think that's the way to go with these sort of counter initiation, post burst comps.
So the lack of mobility is what's going to end up killing them, but we'll see whether or not any of the other teams manage to catch up with that. But there are a good number of teams on here, and not all of them play the same way or are able to really adapt very quickly to certain situations. Some of them, on the other hand, are able to adapt quickly. Up in the first round against them, against Gelati, though, they are up against Three-Headed Monkey. They are an older team. They managed to make it to the finals this time, and they're a well-known team. They've got a lot of people that have been in the community for a long time. Do you think that they have the ability to kind of create a lineup that's able to deal with some of the newcomers like Gelati, but at the same time, can Three-Headed Monkey deal with the older teams that have proven their worth? Oz, what do you think?
Well, you know, as you said before, Three-Headed Monkeys, they are an older team, and I've seen them play before. King Richard, he's a great player, and in their comps, they have a lot of variety. They have a decent nod pool, so a lot of their characters can play, or a lot of their people on their team, I should say, can play a lot of different characters and be able to kind of combat in the picks and bans phase what kind of play style they're going to be playing. And I think they're going to be able to take a lot of these teams on, especially Gelati. For example, as Nada said before, that CC is one of the greatest weaknesses for Gelati, and I believe it's a great weakness for any comp. So if they can get that CC in, they can pick up Gelati, and they can kind of conform to Gelati's play style and play around that.
In that end, then, Nada, moving forward, can Three-Headed Monkey actually deal with the older teams that we understand a bit better more? For instance, can a team like Three-Headed Monkey come across Boom or Boss and actually manage to turn things around and beat them? Because as I understand it, Three-Headed Monkey's coming into this a little bit, not so much as the favorite compared to those teams.
Oh, yeah. A bit underprepared, one might say. They have not been as engaged in the play of competitive nods as of this season, so they might be a bit out of shape, and as a result, they may not actually perform as their name obviously has a huge reputation, and you know they are a scary sounding team. But I think they really have to really go for it and really get that old talent back if they want to perform against teams like Boss and Boom, because those are, in my opinion, one of the favorites. Both are our favorite teams that I want to see at least in the semis.
On top of that list, though, we also still have Ion that we haven't really talked about yet. Ion, obviously a very powerful team. They've managed to show their chops since before the first Awesome Cup in a couple of in a World Championship where they ended up coming in surprise second place. They were a new name then, they're an old name now. Nada, what do you think are Ion's chances of doing a lot of work in this particular finals weekend?
Well, my completely unbiased and totally not sided opinion is that I think that they will reach at least the semifinals. Do I want them to go further? Yes, I do. For people that do not know, I am very affiliated with Ion. They are my team, but I will try to keep my distance for it.
Well, as only a professional can, Nada. Oz, what do you think that Ion's chances are going to be?
Well, I think they're very good. We've seen Ion compete in the previous Alienware Awesome Cup, and as you said before, they've done extremely well in the past. They have a sort of different playstyle compared to these other teams, where they have this kind of bait, switch, and kill playstyle. You know, they'll bait you into the turret, and any mistake that you make right in front of it, they will take it from you and completely and utterly destroy you. And that goes for anywhere. They've done a lot of sneaky duck strategies, as I like to call them, hiding in the jungles and being able to burst someone out very quickly. And I think that they're going to place. I think they're going to do very well, and I think that they're going to be a major competitor in this tournament.
As far as I understand it, Ion is one of those really patient teams. They're the kind of people that actually typified the footsie not play style as of late, where they are able to sit back and wait for someone else to make the mistakes and then just take ground inch by inch by inch, just patiently winning the game that way through a slow, moderately paced game. Now, there are some other teams that have come in that are brand new as well that have managed to do some significant damage. I'm talking about Spade and his incredible team. We've also got the Ninjas with Attitude. Those are two names that I've seen pop up over the course of these qualifiers, and I've been very impressed by them. Oz, what can you tell me about some of these other teams? Like, what are some other teams to look forward to in these finals as we go through this weekend?
Well, as you said before, Spade and his incredible team and Ninjas with Attitude being those two teams. And if I could just briefly touch upon the Ninjas with Attitude, they're one of the dark horse picks. We haven't seen this team come together, and they are a bunch of American players, and they've placed in the qualifiers extremely well. They've taken a lot of teams by surprise. They've put a lot of upsets on the board, a lot of comeback victories. And then we have Spade and his incredible team, who have taken second place in the qualifiers, and they are just an amazing team. We've seen them compete. I've seen them compete before, and I've known these players for a while. They're a European Union team, and they have the comps that destroy you in ticks. They take you out in one tick. You get a good penny pulse, you get a nibs fire, you get a Vinny dash, you're done. And these teams, but Spade and his incredible team have these comps that completely decimate squishy characters.
And it seems like a large portion of the old metagame were those squishy burst characters. So I can see how that kind of comp would absolutely destroy it. Nada, what do you think are some other teams to look out for, especially with these new teams that are coming up?
Well, I personally want to see the gas-powered sticks, sort of get back, because they are, to my understanding, a relatively new team, and they are kind of the underdog here. They made it into the finals, but for instance, Boom had very, very convincing points, and Gas was not on the same spectrum of that. So they made it to the finals, but I really want to see if they can really push it extra, like surprise everyone, because that would probably be the most interesting and most surprising win of all. So best of luck to Gas, that's for sure.
I'd love a surprise as much as anybody else. All right, we have a bunch of different countries that are also participating in these finals. Like we mentioned before, we've got a lot of people from the EU, Ion, representing them. We also have some Canadian teams. We've got Boss, and we've got Notorious Nuts. What other countries are we seeing here today? Nada.
Well, we are we are one country that is perhaps a bit more infamous would be Japan, being represented by both Chocotan Fan Club and Aikyo.
As I understand it, this is actually the first time that we've seen a Japanese team in an Awesome Nuts season, an Awesome Cup qualifier season. last time we had people from Brazil. We had a team from Brazil, the Team Lag, but no one from Japan. So this is the first time that we've seen them. How do you think that they'll do?
Well, we've already seen how they play, and the just again with what we see with these teams here is high aggression and very high coordination. Having seen them play both in pub and in tournaments, I can vouch for them as players, and they really know how to take advantage of situations, create situations, as well as keep up the pressure with lanes forward pushed and never falling back until the very moment that it is absolutely necessary. So I have high hopes for these Japanese teams.
Oz, do we have any teams from the States in here? I'm pretty sure we do, but are there any teams that stand out?
We do, and the teams that stand out, just commenting on the Canadian side of things, but the teams that stand out are the Ninjas with Attitude for me. They're an American-based team, and I mean, there's really not much more to say about them. This tournament has basically been dominated by the European Union, and so as Nata said before, we have teams from Japan and teams from Brazil and South America. But Ninjas with Attitude, the first thing that comes to mind when I think of the good old US of A.
With that said and done, why don't we go ahead and do the dangerous? Let's talk about some predictions here.
Oh.
Looking at the brackets that we've got for this season weekend of the finals here, we have some pretty interesting matchups, even in round one, because of the way that the points kind of fell out. Between Boom and Hot Voltar Train, what do you think is going to end up happening there? Oz?
Well, we've talked about it before. Boom has this immense aggression that they bring to every single game. And Hot Voltar Train, we haven't seen much of them, but, you know, they could pull it off. Everybody likes a good comeback story. And Hot Voltar Train, that's one of those teams that we haven't seen much of them, and they're more of a dark horse candidate for this. But I think they can definitely pull it off. If they can counter Boom's playstyle, get CC going, and get a counter burst, or counter initiation, if you will, I think they may be able to take Boom. Then again, we take a look at Boom, and as I said before, the aggression that they have and what they bring to the table with every single match. It's high-octane, aggressive knots.
So who do you think? Do you think that Boom can is going to derail the Hot Voltar Train, or do you think the Hot Voltar Train is going to choo-choo on to the next round? What do you think?
I believe the Hot Voltar Train is going to run out of coal, and Boom is going to drag it to the finish line.
Nada, what do you think?
I think the train is going to go Boom, and Team Boom will progress. I see it this way: high explosives versus a train, and it will be derailed. Honest prediction: it will be derailed.
Sounds like it's going to be a
Voltar's the
robbery.
conductor. Voltar's the conductor.
Oh well, does he conduct around high explosives?
Well, I don't know. Those drones are pretty explosive as far as I'm concerned, especially with the remake. But I'm inclined to agree with the both of you. I feel that Hot Voltar Train might just have to clock in at this station before going on to the new rails in the lower bracket. But as you guys mentioned before, Hot Voltar Train is a potent team, and there is a chance that they can take the game against Boom. Now, Notorious Nuts versus Barbecue. Nada, who do you think is going to take this one?
Oh, this one is much more in the zone of it comes down to picking, banning, and playing rather than looking at history, because these two teams, I feel, they are so close to each other in skill that I really think that it comes down to picks. Can we get Fudge's Scoldier in there? Can we get those throws into snare traps that decimated 99 cents a couple of qualifiers back? Will we get that play, or is it going to be banned? And will they be outdrafted by Notorious Knots? That is the question here. I am indecisive, but I would place my money on Barbecue just a little. I'd split it up, but I think like 60 to 40%.
Fair enough. And Oz, what do you think?
I'm inclined to say the same thing as Nada. As he said before, both of these teams are basically on par with each other as far as skill level goes, and it's going to come down to the picks and bans. We know both of these teams, both of their play styles, and they play somewhat similar to each other. Both of these teams have that aggressive play style and can counter-initiate when necessary. But as Nada said, I'm going to be placing my money on BBQ to progress.
All right, now Ion versus Last Moment. Oz, which one do you think it's going to end up being in this case? I honestly think that Ion's is the favored one to win here, but is that a sentiment that's shared by most people here, or?
Ion, as you said, is, I do believe, to be the favored one to win in this match. But Last Moment is another dark horse team. These teams have been popping up left and right and showing upsets. Last Moment taking on Boss and defeating them. And they have the capability to do the same thing to Ion. I think if Ion sticks with what they know, play that kind of patient game, inch by inch, second by second, I think they'll be able to progress forward and move Last Moment into the loser's bracket.
99 Cents versus Boss. Nada, this was a matchup that happened in the winner's bracket finals in the last Awesome Cup season. With 99 Cents coming out on top of that particular one, and with Boom ending up taking the second place finish from Boss. Who do you think is going to take it this time between 99 Cents and Boss? Will it be a repeat of last time?
Well, with the reduced strength of 99 Cents, I think, again, we're looking at one of those even matchups. 99 Cents going from that almost foolproof and near perfect play in the first qualifiers, they've sort of not necessarily dropped, but everyone else have sort of increased due to their sort of their lack of synergy and such. So I actually think that Boss is slightly more favored to win. We're talking like 3 to 4%. This is close. I don't know what else to say. It's close. It's going to be close.
All right, let's take a look at the other side of the bracket quickly. Spade versus Chocotan Fan Club. Oz, in a word, who wins?
Spade.
That was quick.
And I'll tell you why.
Tell me why.
That burst. The burst that Spade and his incredible team have, if they get that Penny pick going, if they get that Swiggins pick going, they're going to be able to take them out very quickly. So that goes to Spade, in my opinion.
All right, Nada, could you comment on Gelati versus Three-Headed Monkeys? Who wins in a word? Go.
Oh, well, Gelati, and they deny the burst.
They deny the burst. Okay, and that's what we're looking at. I'm gonna put my money on Three-Headed Monkeys just for the sake of, saying that I did. Just so that way somebody's rooting for them at this point.
All right.
Not that a lot of people aren't, but I want to see Three-Headed Monkeys get on top of this one, just to kind of see Gelati have that kind of story go for them. All right, Ninjas with Attitude versus Not Worthy. Oz, which of these end teams is going to end up on top?
Neck and neck. I'm inclined to say Ninjas with Attitude, though.
And why is that in particular? Is it just because of what you've seen in the past and you think that they can take on Not Worthy, or is Not Worthy just simply not worthy of it?
Not Worthy is actually definitely worthy because they're here in the grand finals, but I think the Ninjas are, it's just what I've seen in the past, their capability in their team comp, picks and bans, and they just know what they're doing.
That's a really good point. Now, finally, Accio versus Gas-Powered Stick. Now, Nada, you talked about Gas-Powered Stick and how you think that they're one of the teams to look at, but Accio is one of the Japanese teams in these brackets. And like you said, they've got a lot of coordination, and they are aggressive and on top of the ball. Who do you think is going to come out on top of this one?
I'm afraid to say that I think Accio will succeed. That doesn't mean I don't want Gas to play, and I don't want to see Gas progress and get all the way up. But I just think that Accio just have more experience. They have better coordination as far as we've seen in the qualifiers. And I think that makes their chances sort of go up. I think that's a decisive victory to Accio, I'm afraid.
All right, with all that said and done, who do you think is going to make it to the finals?
Ooh.
After all of this is said and done.
Well, we're talking the finals.
We're talking the finals here, not like the end of the tournament. Not the
grand finals, right?
Yeah.
Well. All right. Well, looking at the brackets here, I think that we will be seeing either Boom Ion or 99 Cents are probably my. Actually, I think it's Boom Ion, 99 Cents, and Boz. They all want that top spot because they are sort of in the same bracket link. So, oh man, I cannot decide. Let's say Boom for now. Let's say Boom for now will be the first contender. And that will be the winner for the first winners.
So you're expecting Boom to be on top by the end of today?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Oz, what do you think?
I'm going to have to be inclined to agree with Nat. I think Boom is going to be at the top as today concludes.
All right, well, just so that way I can root for my hometown, I'm going to put my money on Boss. I'm going to be seeing what happens with them. But I'm excited to see all of these games. All these teams are fantastic. I'm sure that both of you agree on that one. In fact, you guys have pointed that one out repeatedly over the course of our discussions right now. I'm excited to see what happens, but before we do that, we're going to have a quick break. Before we do that, this has been the pre-show. We're going to have a quick break before we go into our first games, where Oz and Nada are going to end up taking over as our casters for the event. Before that happens, though, guys, I know you guys wanted it. Oz, Nada, everybody else out there, Robo Scoops. Who loves them? Oz, do you love the Robo Scoop? Nada loves the Robo Scoop.
Me.
Okay, we love the Robo Scoop. Everybody here on this team loves the Robo Scoop. You should too if you want one. There's a Twitter giveaway that's going to be happening very shortly, if not has already started. You can go onto Twitter, follow what Ronimo's doing. They should have just sent out a tweet that you can retweet for a giveaway. So, you want to go ahead and do that? Please go on to Twitter. Retweet that to get a chance at a Robo Scoop today. Wouldn't that be awesome? It will be. We're going to be giving out a ton of Robo Scoops over the course of the event today as well. We have a lot of skins to give away, so please stay tuned for those giveaways. There'll be a ton in the Twitch chat and a couple more Twitter giveaways. Please stay tuned for all those. Past that, my name's been Slow Wolf. Thank you for attending the pre-show, and we'll see you guys in the games today. Stay tuned.